how we roll it the first day of the brand new business month. Welcome everyone to your show, Business Morning, live here on Channels Television. We're live to you from Lagos, Nigeria's financial center. We're starting from Broad Street this morning. Of course, it's already in the news, it's already everywhere, but let's just try to help you make a bit more sense of it. This is ending months of speculations of what happens between Access Bank and Diamond Bank. Two listed commercial lenders, their directors, meeting with the central bank chief, Godwin Emefiele, and his team today, requesting regulatory sign-off or approval on the planned business combination of these two financial institutions. The approvals of the Securities and Exchange Commission and the Nigerian Stock Exchange are also expected to be sought in the week, so there's no announcement yet as far as the central bank and the Nigerian Stock Exchange is concerned until they got those approvals. There will be no word on that. There are still a bit more of approvals they need to seek, and this is part of the conversations that is already on social media as I speak. If this business combination goes through, however, that is, if Access Bank buys out the entire Diamond Bank, that will bring the Pascal Adoze's dynasty in the Nigerian banking sector to a close, with Diamond Bank not lasting forever. Access Bank has a history of moving within the industry to acquire. Remember, it was a movement, but failure to acquire Union Bank, which Access did during the bank consolidation of 2004 and 2005. And couldn't lay his hand on Union Bank when the trouble came after the market meltdown of 2008, that was 10 years ago. Access Bank was waiting and picked up Intercontinental Bank during the 2009-2010 banking sector reforms program, in which Intercontinental went bank down alongside a few other banks like Oceanic Bank and Bank PHB. And now Diamond Bank takeover by Access Bank follows Skybank regulatory bridging into Polaris Bank, which is awaiting new investors or buyers. But this is totally different because the central bank is not putting a dime into this, what you call voluntary corporate marriage between between the weak and the stronger. And this is what you call an evolution of banking sector, in which a stronger Access Bank is buying out a weaker, much weaker Diamond Bank. Just hold on a second. Let me give you a few statistics, what you call fast facts about these two banks as we have them. You may have researched this yourself, but they're not very difficult to find. Access Bank, as of today, is worth about 286 billion naira. That's about 700 million US dollars. Diamond Bank is worth just 22 billion naira. Diamond Bank is worth less than the 25 billion naira it pays to secure a banking license from the central bank. 10 years ago, Diamond Bank was worth $1 billion US dollars as a company listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Today, Diamond Bank is worth just 80 million US dollars. Move on. Look at the earnings per share. If you're trying to find out the value of a company, you look at the earnings per share. Today, Access Bank is worth 2.32 naira. Diamond Bank is worth a negative 70 kobo. In other words, for every 1 naira that you have in Diamond Bank, as a shareholder, that is worth a negative 70 kobo. You're not getting 70 kobo, you're getting a negative. You need to top it up by 70 kobo. That's what the negative earnings per share tells you. How these two banks fared so far this year? It's been a very brutal year for the stock market, so you understand. Diamond Bank is down 33.57% this year. Access Bank, in terms of share value, on the counter, negative 23.55%. What about a PE ratio? That's price to earnings ratio. How many years will it take you if you invest your money in these two banks to get your money back? In Access Bank, it will take you 3 years and 10 months. In Diamond Bank, there's no single valuation. According to Bloomberg, this morning, there's no valuation, PE ratio valuation assigned to Diamond Bank. You know what that means if you're on the market street, don't you? It means your money is in the water. Let's move on. What else? So questions are still being asked about Diamond Bank. How much debt is on Diamond Bank's book? Is it 400 billion naira or how much? This is what will be unraveled from today when we hear from the two banks after they got the necessary regulatory approval. In particular, you don't need to worry about the central bank approval. You need to worry about the SEC and the Nigerian Stock Exchange approval. What number of shares will be exchanged for Diamond Bank of Access Bank? How much will Diamond Bank shareholders get in consideration of new shares that they will get from Access Bank? What would that ratio be? I don't know, but let me just tell you this again. As we speak today, Access Bank has total shares outstanding 28.92 billion naira. So Access Bank, even though being the acquirer, is also heavy with shares outstanding. That's one of the heaviest on the market, nearly 29 billion shares. That means Access also need to work on its number of shares outstanding. The bigger the size of your shares outstanding, the fewer the shares or the value that shareholders get is street knowledge, everyone who knows that. So if you have lower shares, then your investors benefit more. If you have bigger shares, then it's a problem. How many shares does Diamond Bank have at this point? 23.16 billion ordinary shares. So if you compare Access and Diamond Bank in terms of the total number of shares they have, as of today, both of them are heavy, wearing this heavy cross on their necks. Let's move on. What else about the questions about this combination? What are the roles of the institutional investors, which is all been talked about? The Carlyle Group, which is a major group of institutional investors in Diamond Bank, and the role of independent directors of Diamond Bank. A lot of questions are still being asked about what Pascal Dozier did while he was the managing director and others on the board. This is some of the stories that are already on the street. Now, we don't have the details of this business combination. It's still unclear, as I said, what minority shareholders will get. At this point, we don't have those revelations. But as soon as they file with the SEC and the stock exchange, we will have those details. Also, this merger is going on, or acquisition is going on, without court-ordered meeting. What ought to be done was for Access Bank and Diamond Bank to go to court and secure a court-ordered meeting, which will stipulate an extraordinary general meeting asking shareholders for approval to go for a corporate wedlock. That hadn't taken place. So what happens? We're going to hear more from today. Let's leave Diamond Bank. President Buhari tomorrow is heading to the National Assembly on Wednesday, the 19th, to present Budget 2019 details to the joint chambers of the House and the Senate. They'll be sitting together to listen to the president, who will also be sitting down here on Wednesday to listen to this very important part of our calendar. Every year, the president coming face-to-face with the National Assembly to present 2019 budgets. We'll have more time in this week to talk about this particular business on your calendar. Meantime, markets and analysts are focusing on the gritty details of Access Bank takeover of troubled Tier 2 lender Diamond Bank. And of course, markets still digesting the big question: what is the true state and fate of Nigeria's Tier 2 lenders on Broad Street? We have the rest of the week to unpack that. Let's cross over to the stock exchange. Temple Ashaju is waiting very quickly to give us the first word today, as this story is breaking. Not really breaking on the street, but what is actually breaking is that they spend most of the weekend crossing the T's and dotting the I's and presenting those papers before the central bank governor and the rest of his team today for a yes. Temple, come on the show. Let's get across to you. Temple Ashaju is our business correspondent, is one watching the markets for us. Temple, give us one or two of your minutes this morning. This is one news. This is not really breaking news, but it's breaking in the sense that weeks and months of speculations are now being confirmed. Buy on the rumor, sell on the news.
Absolutely, boss, and it's always like that. But let's look at how this affects the bank, Diamond Bank, in the last few trading sessions. The Friday before the last, the bank had actually closed uptick in terms of price, more than one naira per share. I think it was around 1 naira 3 kobo. But then when the market resumed on Monday last week, which is 10th of December, it opened at that 1 naira 3 kobo, rising at some 0.98%. But if you look at what then happened on Tuesday, investors began to sell down, and that closed at 95 kobo on Tuesday. That's 11th of December. It fell in terms of movement now by 7.77% after investors exchanged transaction on some 17 million units of its shares. And then it didn't stop at 95 kobo. It went lower on Wednesday, closing at 91 kobo. Some 18.45 million units of its shares were traded, and then it dipped by 4.21%. Look at what happened on Thursday. It dipped further, 87 kobo per share, after some 10.18 million units of shares were transacted on, and that was a dip of 4.40%. And then on Friday, it came back up again to 95 kobo, rising some 0.08%, some 7.16 million units of shares exchanged on Diamond Bank on Friday. What this means is that we've been seeing a whole lot of speculation on this particular company in recent time. We know that, yes, the CBN the week before, or 2 weeks before this, last week we're reviewing, came up with a press release granting it a national banking license, taking it away from the international banking license structure that it had way before now. Recall that Diamond Bank was once available in Cote d'Ivoire. It was available in a couple of other countries, basically. But then at a point, I think it was early this year, the company talked about the need to focus on the domestic market more. And that at that point, they moved away from Cote d'Ivoire and a couple of other countries, I think UK now. Since then, we've been hearing a whole lot of negative stories in the market about Diamond Bank. One particular, let's say, the straw that broke the camel back here was when in October or thereabouts, the chairman, Mr. Seyi Bickerstead, and 3 other non-executive directors resigned from the board. 2 of them are women, 1 is a man, and it was on the basis of the fact that there has to be approval for some recapitalization of the company basically, which is also quoted here in the Nigerian Stock Exchange, and of course regulated by the CBN because of the banking structure it has. So we understand that this led to some corporate governance issues because the approval was not taken by the board, and it was unilaterally taken, so to say, given the kind of letter that was released by the chairman, the former chairman now, in November. I think that was November 15th, basically. So since then, we've been seeing a whole lot of negative reaction to this company, and that was what has led to what we currently know. We know that when the company also released its earnings sometimes in October, basically for the Q3 2018, the revenue basically dipped so badly. We know that it fell in earnings per share from 17 naira to 7 naira. We know that the profit before tax also dipped from Q3 2017. It stood at 4.7 billion naira down to 3.08 billion naira, and that's a 35.4% decline. In terms of the profit after tax, it also declined by 57.6%, falling from some 3.9 billion naira to 1.6 billion naira as at the period ended September 30, 2018. All of these connotes negative stories around that particular company, Diamond Bank, which is a tier 2 bank in this climb. And owing to the fact that the last declaration of dividend was as at 2013, making it some 4 years ago, 4 years ago when investors in that company particularly got either bonus or dividend from the company. It is a concern to investors. This was a concern to the 4 executive directors that resigned from the board. We also know of the fine that was imposed on the bank as a result of some CCI that the CBN basically saw the company, participating in favor of MTN, a telecom giant here in Nigeria. So following all of this, we saw S&P downgrading the bank's credit rating. At the end of the day, we began to hear all of these rumors that says the bank is now going to be taken over by Access Bank, which currently trades at 7 naira or over in the market. Well, at a point in time, the bank issued a press release and
I'm
said
sure we're going to have more.
Not true.
Temple.
It looks like this is
Temple. Well, we're going to have more time to talk about this later on the program. Just hold it there. We have quite a lot more time to talk about how a $1 billion bank becomes an $80 million bank. Stick around. Temple Ashaji from Nigerian Stock Exchange. Let's go back into You're Watching Business Morning.